How's it going, everyone? I am Nick from Go2Game. Today we're joined by Jack, head of Go2Game, and in this video we're going to talk about how to build a strong community. Jack, what are your quick thoughts on where do you start with this? What's a community for you, and kind of where do you kind of start when you're looking at building a community?
Yeah. I think for me, where my community has come from has changed a lot over the years. And I think that has been based off the games that I've been playing. And a lot of people that I talk to, they would kind of say the same thing. You know, they have a community that is built around the game they stream. And that's really kind of, I guess, the starting point of that. You know, if you play a certain game a lot, then you're going to have a lot of people in your community that enjoy watching that game. If you were to switch, some of those people will come across because they've gone from liking the game you play and the way you play it and how you play it to liking you as the content creator and the entertainer and the person. Then they'll kind of stay with you over the years. Some people won't. Some people, you will be playing Minecraft, then you'll start playing RuneScape, and majority of people will not transition across to that very well at all. So I
Yeah.
think for me, the start of it is finding a community that kind of enjoys what you do and the games that you play, and and starting from there.
Yeah, awesome. And speaking of that, right? It does sticking to one game at the beginning, at least when you're first starting out, is that something that you'd recommend to a lot of people? Because I know there's a lot of people that like to variety stream. They play what they want when they want and just try to enjoy. But if they're really trying to build something, does that help or hurt what they're trying to do?
This is a hard one because I want to say it will hurt you, but then there are those one-off cases where people just play whatever they want, do whatever they want, have a terrible streaming schedule. They don't post on any socials. They don't do like those key, you need to do this to grow. And they're some of the biggest streamers on any of the platforms. They're some of the biggest content creators that we've seen. So I don't think there's like a one size fits all or one progress. You know, if you tick all these things off and you follow all this, you will be successful. I think there is still a little bit of element of, I don't want to say luck, because I know that is a little bit of a controversial topic anyway. But there even from my side, I think there is a little bit of luck in terms of the way you are as a creator, the way you put your content out. You could follow all of the best practices for every platform and really never see growth, or you could follow them and see growth, or the vice versa. You could do whatever you want whenever you want, and your stuff may blow up, and you'll become a really big content creator. So I think variety, it can work and it can not work. Which I think
Yeah.
if someone's watching this for an answer, there may not be an answer here for you. But working alongside Facebook Gaming over the last 6-7 months, we've definitely seen people that stick to a single game, especially on platforms that do have an algorithm. It is going to be very beneficial for you to kind of stick to the same game. And in most cases, we've seen be very detrimental if you're switching games constantly, switching content styles constantly, not sticking to a reasonable schedule in the way you stream or upload. So yeah, I think each case sort of case by case for sure. But from my side, yeah, variety content doesn't always work the best.
Yeah, awesome. And like to add to that really, and just kind of talk about some of the points that you made.
Mm.
We always see that people that with variety content that do well are natural entertainers. They're people that know how to hold an audience and engage with an audience at a level that most people don't. And when you're starting out, it's really difficult, I think, to build that level of fun entertainment that resonates, right? And if your personality doesn't meet the most of those people or the games that you're playing, they're not willing to watch you, and you don't capture them straight away. There might be, it might not be, variety might not be for you as well. Like that's a big thing that I've seen.
Yeah.
A lot of people attempt variety, but their content, unfortunately, is not to sound harsh, but it's a bit lackluster in comparison to the other variety content creators that are out there. And, they're not getting noticed, or they're not engaging as well as some others might.
Definitely. No, I 100% agree. And I think a lot of the people that do succeed in the variety are either already quite large creators that already have a fan base that's there for them, not there for the game they play. But if you look at the path that a lot of those creators have come from, they've come from a single game. They've either been really good at the game, they've been really entertaining in the game, they've been really toxic in the game, and that's kind of what's led to their growth. That happens as well. Or they've already been a quite a large figure in the online space in other ways. They've been an esports player in one of the big teams that everybody likes because they're hilarious, they're great at the game or whatever it is. They'll come over and they play whatever, and they still do really well. Shroud, for example, Summit, those guys, they've obviously been streaming for a very long time, but they're kind of starting out, and Ninja as well, and even XQC, like they all kind of started in the same, roughly the same way, in a roundabout in the esports. They were all really great at that, and now they play whatever, and they still pull reasonable viewers. They're all, I say reasonable viewers in anywhere between 50 and 100,000 concurrents,
The
shit
top
like that. But
0.001% of
yeah, exactly. But I think like if it's looking at the people that are able to do consistent variety now and still pull those large viewerships, they didn't start as variety creators, and then kind of they're still variety creators. They
Yeah.
started as a single game, whether it's a single genre in a way like FPS, or MMOs or whatever it may be. But I think variety content on any platform, really, you'll always see a bit of a dip for sure if you're swaying away from your main style of content or game.
Yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense. And speaking of kind of swaying away from things, so we talk about
Mm.
consistency a lot, right? With
Yeah.
creators and maybe sticking to schedules. So how important, and this might be not like rhetorical, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it as well. But how important is consistency to showing up for your community and making and building it stronger? Like just not just streaming in general, but maybe having conversations with your community on Discord or other platforms and getting them involved. Like
Mhm.
how important is that? And just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on what do you do?
Yeah. Um, Again, I think this is obviously going to be a kind of whatever works best for you in a way, and what works best for your community may not work best for someone else's community. But for me, I like to keep a pretty consistent schedule in when I stream, when I upload things. One for me, it works with my life, with full time work, leading go to game, and I've got two little kids and a wife and everything as well. So in terms of the streaming part and the content creation part isn't the main part of what I do. It kind of is. It's one of those things, kind of 50-50, but it's one of those things I can slightly move if I need to. Whether it's the kids, whether work, goes back, or I've got a meeting at night or whatever, I can move those things. But I always really try and keep the time that I'm streaming set. And I think that
Mm.
it kind of allows my community, that are the guys and girls that are, and everybody that's always going to be there at the same time. It allows them to know when I'm going live, and even if I was to miss a stream, if I didn't start at the time, I would check Discord and there'll be messages. Huddo live tonight. Is he is he feeding the dog before he starts streaming today? Like, it kind of allows that fun and funny moments to happen within your community, and that kind of shows to me, I'm like, the community really care about what I do,
Mm.
and they really are following what I'm doing. So to me, I think like that is pretty important. But then I know some people that just kind of stream whenever they want and do whatever they want, and that works for them. That works for their life. They may have a job that doesn't allow them to stream exactly when at the same time every day. But I
Mhm.
guess kind of whatever works for you in your situation. Um, but if you can schedule things, I think for the most part it does work better, especially again on platforms with algorithms, and the way that those platforms pick up your content. Um, Maybe the live stream may not be able to be scheduled, but if you can schedule your uploads, your videos, your clips, like your posting, all those types of things, majority of platforms you can schedule. I think if you can take advantage of that, it's one going to take a bit of stress off you having to worry about posting things at the right time. You can schedule the next week's worth of content and just let it do its thing. But then it's going to allow your content to be pushed and to grow kind of without you really sitting there making sure it goes out.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. And
Mm.
I guess like a lot of these different things kind of tie into when and what you do, right? Like you
Yeah.
were saying, you try to work things around your schedule so that you can then have consistent content, your actual live stream live. And you do talk, do you spend much time in like Discord or anything with your community outside of stream, or is it more just kind of how do you work with that? Like I know you've got a lot of time on live streamed hours, but then do you spend much time outside of live stream working with community?
I try to as much as I can.
Mm.
But again, like with the day job, and then kind of when I'm finished the day job, it's onto the stream. You're all
Yeah.
onto looking after the kids and doing the dinners and in between both. So I try and stay off my phone as much as I can. Obviously, I'm on my phone quite a lot, so I'm still talking to people and that sort of stuff. Um, so yeah, I do definitely try and interact as much as I can. But there are some times, like the weekends, I try not to look at my phone really at all if I cannot, because I just want to spend it with my family.
Mm.
Um, but then yeah, it's a pretty it is a difficult balance between obviously your family life. If you have a family like mine, if you don't, it might be a little bit different. But yeah, I definitely do try and spend some time chatting with the community. I haven't really had the chance recently, or really kind of pushed into doing community games and those types of things, because I only stream GTA and I only put up
Mm.
GTA content. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things, man. It's like a lot of the people that follow my content, maybe they don't. I think a lot of them don't even have GTA. They kind of just like enjoying watching the role play and enjoy watching the
Yeah.
content
Yeah.
that I make. So I've done a few kind of drift nights in the past. We all get on a drifting server and there's 20, 30 people and it's a really good time. Everyone's in Discord having a good time. So yeah, you do bring up a good point that I definitely should do that again very soon.
No, that was just a question, really. Like, and seeing,
Throw me under the bus.
get onto him. How does community get onto him?
Yeah, they
But
will.
it's a good
God
it's a
damn it.
good thing though. Like for you taking time to find balance for that, so that you can support yourself, but also like support the community that you're trying to work with and build, right? And I
Mhm.
think your community understanding that yes, you do have a full time job, yes, you do have family to look after and spend time with. That they're okay with you doing that, right? Like that's a big thing, because most communities be like, why aren't you streaming tonight? Or like, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? Like, sometimes that can be very, I don't know, aggressive towards you taking time for yourself. And
100%.
maybe finding, this is probably another question, but where do you find those people, like the right people, the right community? How do you foster that kind of from the beginning, that your
Mm.
kind of community is led in a direction that inspires other people to be better, or like help other people? Like how do you do that? I know maybe mods is an answer, but how do you kind of bring that
Yeah.
from you to your community?
I don't know. I think that is a good one. That is a really good question. And I think from my side, maybe it's just kind of how I am and how open I am with everything that I do. And I feel like I don't know, just basing this off like things I've seen in other Discord communities, but then the way that the content creator goes about their life. Maybe it's because I am so open with everything. Like if I have a night off because I'm sick, I have a night off because I have a migraine, I have a night off because I've got to look Alicia's sick or look after the kids. Like I feel like because I'm so open about everything in my life on stream, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, some people would disagree or agree with that. But obviously every content creator is different, every stream's different or whatever. But I think it's because I am so open, then people kind of have a lot more understanding that how much is going on in my life. And if I take a night off stream, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
Whereas I find that some creators that they don't really talk about their personal lives at all. They have their content and they have their stream, and then everything else in life is completely separate,
Mm.
that their communities don't really understand what else is going on in their life or don't know about it, which isn't a bad thing at all. If that's how people want to make their content and they want to have everything separate, like I think there are definitely positives in doing that for sure. Um, but I think like just from personal experience, seeing communities that maybe get upset or get frustrated or are quite aggressive, people that are having time off for themselves, they may not know a lot about that person's personal life for them to understand that they do need to take some time, or they're just assholes. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
that
yeah.
that could that could
The
be it.
internet.
That literally could be it.
Yeah. Yeah,
They
I
could
think
just be a dick.
the internet, right? You put yourself out
100%.
there, you're definitely going to run into some assholes once in a while.
Yeah, 100%. People just don't get it, or they do get it and they don't care. I
Yeah.
want my content. I don't care if you have a headache.
Mm,
I want my content.
yeah. Yeah. And it's like, yeah.
People think like that. People do.
Yeah.
As much as it sucks, and that's a shitty attitude to have, people think like that. And it's whether you allow them to stick around because of whatever reason. But
Mm,
I normally don't. So maybe that's why
yeah.
mine's community is so good.
Well,
You know?
that's a good point, right? Like, is that you and your community recognize when there's people that are just being assholes that don't want to help
Yeah.
support you, or like aren't coming to you just like candidly, like lighthearted. They're very aggressive or something, right? There's something off.
Mhm.
Like I think identifying that and stamping it out early is a good point, because it's I've seen this before, right? It's like sometimes content creators and streamers tend to be a little bit of HR for their own content and streams,
Oh,
because
100%.
you have to manage people that are in your community, and then like fighting against each other in your chat, or like different opinions on things, and finding the right people to help even with that. Like, how important to you has your mods, or like your community like leadership, or whatever you want to call them, been for you? Like, how important has that been growing your community?
I think like my community has been pretty chill for the most part for a very long time. So in terms of like removing people from the community and banning people and having like proper crazy stuff going on within the community, it hasn't really happened ever.
Yeah.
If at all, really. Obviously, you'll get people coming in and spam links in your chat, or you'll get randoms coming in and saying stuff like that. The mods are just onto it, getting banned, so they're looking after the chat from that aspect. But I haven't really had an incident, as I know probably a lot of creators have, where you've got, maybe prominent figures in your community and they have a falling out, and then it's what's going on here, or
Mm.
removing someone from your community you've had around for a very long time. That hasn't really happened too much at all, really. So I think maybe that's just the kind of grounds that we've set and that I've set over the years. Like, we don't really have people coming in and causing a fuss. So I couldn't really speak to that side of it, which
Yeah, no,
is I'm grateful for.
which is amazing, right? Because you always hear horror stories of creators going through something like that, especially on Twitter. There's always like noise of something happening in stream that comes to Twitter or comes to other platforms, and there's always discussion around it. Is this the right way to do it? How do I even handle this? Is this even my position as a creator to do this? Like, what's happening here? So it's a very good point that you're very fortunate to be able to have built something that you're not too worried about that, right? Like, and I think coming back to you saying that you're very open about a lot of your life on community, at least in my opinion, that might also bring light to a lot of this. Is like, people see you for who you are, what you do, etc. So there's no real there's not that many blurred lines for them to kind of ask questions about or be concerned about. They kind of know you, who you are, what you do, and that has helped your community grow. Whereas then maybe people that don't share as much have that ambiguity, and then when questions are raised, there's all this kind of conflict. This is just me talking about that specific two separate types of examples. Like for me, like I kind of always had this two live situation where it was like my gaming life and my professional life, and my professional life included like, and even home life, like those kind of three things. Is like, I'd have gaming, I'd do content, but then I'd also do marketing for work. And it's not only till like, I'd say the past 2 years, even working with goto.game now, that I've been able to kind of merge the two. Like, I always felt like two separate personas in some respect, which it's really difficult, right? And especially when trying to build community, it's like, do you want to follow me as a professional? Do you want to follow me as a gaming content creator? Because I've got different opinions on those, and I'd phrase things very differently if I was talking to the gaming audience versus like professional audience, like LinkedIn versus Twitter, for instance. Yeah. Like there's always that kind of space that I sit in, which one, and who am I talking to? And I think you saying that you're very open about everything, I think if it's something that I, even like me, taking it to me and blending the two and being open that, yes, I do both, and talk to both communities in the same way, that kind of helped me build up something, right? Like that's just some self-reflection on even going through this conversation, things that I could improve on my side to kind of get something somewhere.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I definitely agree. I've had that for a number of years now as well, especially working in the gaming space. You know, talking through the day, sharing campaigns we're doing, talking about this sort of stuff, and then at night I'm posting random clips and random shit, and I'm going live. You know, it's completely different audiences, and it is always difficult to kind of manage that, especially if you've just got like one Twitter account, one Instagram account. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
I usually post like a lot of my gaming stuff and trying to do that, but now my Instagram is kind of just sort of transitioned to my family life because that's just kind of what I've done by accident. So yeah, I definitely agree. It is hard, especially with the blurred lines, but from my side, I just be me.
mm,
I tweet the shit I want to tweet, and whoever interacts with it. You know, I'm not really too fussed about it. So
yeah.
yeah, that's kind of how I manage it anyway. Just fucking send it.
Just send it. That's it.
Hundred
That's it.
percent.
That's if you want to build a strong community, just send it. That's it. That's it.
Yep.
I'm Nick from Go2Game. We've been talking building a strong community with Jack, head of Go2Game, and we would love to hear your thoughts on how you're building your communities. Any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments section below. And if you're interested in more videos from Go2Game, make sure to hit the subscribe button or check out all of these playlists and other videos that are hovering on screen now. We'll catch you next time. So we've been talking building a strong community with JackHuddo, head of Go2Game. I'm Nick. I don't even know what my title is anymore. Oh, let's do that again.